ballots for the 2024 general election. I'm Communications and Public Engagement Director Lillian Govis. Today we'll be joined by Dr. Mandor, Buncombe County Medical Director, Assistant Emergency Services Director Ryan Cole, and Philip Cooper with Operation Gateway. But first, we'll hear from County Manager Avril Pinter.
Good morning. Today is the last day to request your absentee ballot. More than 80,000 Buncombe County residents have cast their ballots so far, with 6,000 of those being absentee. Remember, the post office says to mail those ballots a week in advance. So if you're mailing that ballot, today is the day, the last day to do that. You can also drop them off at any early voting site or at the Election Services office at 59 Woodfin Place. You can continue early voting through Saturday at 3 p.m. We are on par with 2020 for this day. So if voting trends hold to over 6,000 votes per day, we will surpass 2020 total. Right now, our average turnout per day is 6,700. We are seeing our highest turnouts at the Weaverville and South Buncombe locations. So check the wait times at www.buncombecounty.org/vote. To date, 37% of our registered voters have voted early. As a reminder, the early voting locations are Black Mountain Library, East Asheville Library, Inca Candler Library, Fairview Library, South Buncombe Library, West Asheville Library, UNCA Health and Counseling Center, Weaverville Community Center, Dr. Wesley Grant Southside Center, and Leicester Community Center. Corinne Duncan, Election Services Director, will join us back here on Thursday for another update, and then again on Monday. An update on our community care stations. Our community care stations are open and ready with showers, laundry, and more. Tonight, the Swannanoa Ingalls station will have new equipment switched out. And while no disruptions are expected, we recommend visiting any of the other stations tomorrow morning to avoid any delays. Our community care station locations are AC Reynolds High School, At Home Store Parking Lot, Big Lots Innsbrook Mall, Buncombe County Sports Park, Bethel United Methodist, Swannanoa Ingalls, Owen Pool, and Morgan Hill Baptist Church. The new site at the Swannanoa Ingalls will include a laundry service, so you will just drop it off and pick it up. Buncombe County registered nurses and the mobile team are offering free Tdap, COVID, flu, and Hep A vaccines at community care sites. This includes the Swannanoa Ingalls. They'll be there Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from noon until 6 p.m. and Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The Buncombe County Sports Park, Wednesdays and Fridays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and the Big Lots Innsbrook Mall, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from noon until 6 p.m. On our water and food distribution sites, water and meals ready to eat are available at distribution sites every day at the Sky Lanes Bowling Alley, Black Mountain Ingalls, Swannanoa Ingalls, Linwood Crump Shallow Community Center, Pat Square Park, Buncombe County Community Park, Buncombe County Sports Park, Fairview Ingalls. An update on Buncombe County Parks. The Buncombe County Parks and Rec Department is excited to announce the opening of Glenbridge and Corcoran Page River Parks. While these parks are open, please do not use the river at this time. The Diff Golf Course at the Buncombe County Sports Park has also been cleared to open and is ready for play. The sports park continues to serve as a water distribution site and community care station. So we ask that people do not park in the lots where these services are occurring. Parking is available by fields 1, 2, 8, and 9. We also ask that residents do not attempt to access closed parks, including Lake Julian, Owen Park, and Carpin soccer fields, the Ledges, Alexander, and Walnut River parks also remain closed at this time. Hominy Valley and North Buncombe fields are open. On our debris and solid waste, to date, 40,000 cubic yards of debris picked up so far in Barnersville and Swannanoa. That's about the equivalent of 40,000 full-size mattresses. Of course, debris cleanup will continue. And let me be very clear, it will be a lengthy process. We are not just talking about trees and branches. When we say storm debris, we're also talking about building materials from homes, businesses, and vehicles. It took years to build our community, and it will take a very long time to recover from the devastation the storm left behind. For Wednesday, October 29th, tomorrow, Liz Pro will operate normal routes for household trash and recycling in accessible locations in Swannanoa. Laceboro would also be located at Hearts with Hands at 850 Warren Wilson Road at their Circle Drive closest to Owen Park for residents that are not able to access from 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. This truck is for household bag trash only. Please note, this is a different location from prior weeks as the pool is a comfort care station and school is back in session. Tonight in Black Mountain, the community can come together at 6 p.m. in Town Square, 100 State Street, for our community reflection and remembrance program to recognize and honor the grief and loss due to Hurricane Helene as a town, as a valley, as a region. If you're not able to join in person, you can view the live stream on the Tongue of Black Mountain's official Facebook page at facebook.com/Tongue of Black Mountain. The One Buncombe call center at 828-250-6100 is ready to answer any calls with Hurricane Helene questions. Starting tomorrow, the One Buncombe call center will be open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. That number again is 828-250-6100. And now I'll turn it over to Dr. Mullendor for a public health update.
Thank you. Good morning. Following a major flooding event like we experienced with Hurricane Helene, there is an increased risk of gastroenteritis. Gastroenteritis is an illness that involves the stomach and/or the intestines. Symptoms can include vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain or cramping, headaches, muscle aches, and fever. The risk of gastroenteritis increases for a variety of reasons, including contact with sewage or water that has been contaminated with human or animal waste, decreased ability for appropriate hand hygiene and safe food handling practices, lack of consistent refrigeration due to power outages. Flooding can also wash organisms from livestock into areas where fruits and vegetables are grown, contaminating the produce. Gastroenteritis can be caused by a wide variety of germs, including norovirus, hepatitis A, Cryptosporidium, E. coli, Salmonella, Shigella, Campylobacter, and Giardia. When people eat or drink food or water that has been contaminated by these germs, or touch their mouth with hands that are contaminated with these germs, they can develop gastroenteritis. Public health epidemiologists with the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services Division of Public Health's Communicable Disease Branch routinely review public health data to identify illnesses, infections, and conditions that are affecting the health of people in North Carolina. They review real-time data from emergency departments and some urgent cares that show the reasons that people are seeking care at these facilities. They also review reports from healthcare providers and medical laboratories of specific communicable diseases affecting individuals. There are also public health epidemiologists who work at large hospital systems across the state, including Mission Health. They monitor what illnesses are being seen on a local level. Review of this data for the month of October has shown an increase in Campylobacter cases above baseline in Buncombe County. Campylobacter typically is the most common reportable gastrointestinal illness in Buncombe County. It is typically caused by cross-contamination of food preparation surfaces and/or kitchenware with raw or uncooked or undercooked poultry. It can also be spread through touching animals, their food, water, feces, and habitats, and by drinking untreated water. Based on patient interviews that Buncombe County communicable disease nurses have conducted, this increase does appear to be storm-related, with a variety of potential sources, including deficiencies in appropriate hand hygiene, food handling, and/or cleaning of food preparation surfaces. To be clear, we are not blaming these individuals for their infections. Rather, when people lack the normal resources to perform these tasks, the risk of illness increases. There's also been a slight uptick in emergency department visits for general gastrointestinal illness in Buncombe County. It's too early to know if this is the start of an increasing trend, a return to baseline because these levels fluctuate routinely, or just a blip. Epidemiologists at the state are continuing to monitor this data. To prevent gastroenteritis, individuals should follow the following guidance. First, drink and use safe water. So you can use bottled water for drinking, washing and preparing food, making ice, and brushing teeth. Alternatively, while we're under a boil water notice, you can boil and disinfect your water. And we've covered this before, but how you can do this is if the water is cloudy, you can first filter it through a clean cloth, a paper towel, or a coffee filter, or you can alternatively let the particles in the water settle out to the bottom and then take off the clear liquid at the top, the clear water for boiling. If you use the boil method, bring the clear water to a rolling boil for 1 minute, and then let that boiled water cool and store it in clean, sanitized containers with tight covers. Alternatively, you could use the bleach method, and you can add 8 drops of regular unscented liquid household bleach to each gallon of water. Stir it well and let it stand for 30 minutes before use. And again, store this disinfected water in clean containers with covers. We've covered this before as well, but do not drink water from flooded or damaged wells until the well has been disinfected and follow-up testing shows that there's no evidence of bacterial contamination. Second step is to perform hand hygiene. So washing your hands with soap and clean water is the best way to remove germs. If you don't have soap and clean water, you can use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer that contains at least 60% alcohol. For individuals who are immunocompromised, you may choose to use hand sanitizer or hand sanitizing wipes after washing your hands with non-potable water. That can provide an extra layer of protection. And as we've discussed before this storm, you want to wash your hands before eating or preparing food, before and after treating a wound or taking care of someone who is sick, after going to the bathroom, after changing diapers, or cleaning a child after they have gone to the bathroom, after blowing your nose, after touching an animal, animal feed, or animal waste, and after touching garbage. Third step would be using safe water for drinking, food preparation, and cleaning of food preparation surfaces and kitchenware. So you want to clean food preparation areas and kitchenware with safe water and soap and let them dry completely before reusing. You can also use a homemade bleach-based solution of 1 tablespoon of unscented liquid chlorine bleach in 1 gallon of water to sanitize surfaces and utensils in the kitchen. Fourth, follow safe food handling practices. So avoid meat and dairy products that have not been refrigerated. Cook food well, eat it hot and keep it covered. Be cautious of raw vegetables or fruits or other foods unless you have peeled them yourselves or know where they came from. If you or a family member becomes sick with diarrhea, you want to stay hydrated by drinking safe water. You should see a healthcare provider if you develop bloody diarrhea, diarrhea that lasts more than 3 days, a fever over 102 degrees Fahrenheit, if you're vomiting so often that you can't keep liquids down, or if you have signs of dehydration, which could be when you're not urinating as much as usual, when you have a dry mouth or throat, or you might be feeling dizzy when you stand up. I will close with some information about hot tubs. Due to Hurricane Helene, your hot tub may have been flooded, damaged, or it may not have received regular maintenance and cleaning, which could lead to buildup of harmful bacteria, including the bacteria that causes Legionnaire's disease. You may recall this was an issue several years ago in this area. The following information can protect you and your family as you use hot tubs this fall, either in your home or in a vacation or rental home. If the hot tub did not receive regular cleaning during the storm or was damaged or flooded, drain the water from the hot tub. Using fresh potable water, scrub, clean, and rinse all surfaces of the hot tub as needed. Follow the manufacturer's instructions to replace and clean filters as needed. Refill the hot tub with fresh potable water. Water that is under a boil water notice should not be used for refilling a hot tub. Return the hot tub to routine disinfectant levels and begin using it again. The routine disinfectant levels for a hot tub are free chlorine, 3 to 10 parts per million, or ppm, bromine 4 to 8 parts per million, and water pH of 7.2 to 7.8. If a regular source of fresh potable water is not available for servicing and refilling your hot tub, wait to resume use until a reliable water source is available. Again, water from a municipal supply operating under a boil water notice is not considered a reliable water source for a hot tub. And water with high turbidity is difficult to keep at proper disinfection levels and can cause buildup of biofilms on jets and other areas of the hot tub that allow for growth of bacteria. So thank you and stay safe.
And we thought that Clay was the only person who talked about turbidity. Next, we will turn it over to Ryan Cole, our Emergency Services Assistant Director.
Good morning. We just wanted to give a brief update of our resources in the county. We have had multiple out-of-county resources, and we'd like to thank all of our partnering agencies who have come in from across the state to support our emergency services and our fire departments across the county. We have had people from different areas that have been doing that. That is starting to demobilize through the end of this week, and we will be returning back to normal operations. However, I want to caution everyone that we are still going to have delayed responses in getting to those areas which have compromised infrastructure, or where we might have areas that we still have debris that is in the path of being able to get to an area. We also have been, Fire Marshal's Office has been working with some of the private areas, water sources for hydrants to ensure that we have good water supply for firefighting operations. One of the other things that we want to bring caution to everyone is the fire danger that is coming up with the fall fire season. As we have the leaves dropping off the trees, it is creating additional leaf litter in the forest, which is fuel that can burn. However, the positive aspect of that is we're experiencing higher humidities in the afternoons and the mornings. During the middle of the day is usually when we see our lowest humidities, but the current forecast is showing that that's going to remain up of the evening and the morning. If that starts dropping, then it is also going to increase our fire danger. So be very mindful of the humidity levels and the fire danger that we have in the area, and be very cautious with your burning, especially with falling leaves, to make sure that those leaves will not allow the fire to escape the area that you have that in. The last thing that I want to speak of is alternative housing that people might be utilizing currently, that we make sure that we have fire safety in those alternative resources. For example, if you're staying in a camper, have you checked the smoke detector in the camper and making sure that that is available? Do you have carbon monoxide detectors in those alternative sources, and make sure that those are in place? And just general safety with different housing that we have, not only the housing, but also the areas that where we have people who have damaged homes. Be very cautious with burning around damaged areas, and that we might get into additional areas that are not damaged that we have in place. So just a few things that we need to be mindful of. We'd like to thank all of our partners who have assisted us up to this point. Again, we will be working back towards normal operations as we see those demobilize out of our county and return back across the state. And we appreciate all of their assistance in the times that they've been here. Thank you.
And finally, we have an update from Philip Cooper, a change agent with Operation Gateway. Thank you.
Bless up my fellow Appalachians. So I'm excited to be here, and the update that I have is just the clear indication that we are better together, we are stronger together, and guess what? We got this. So in the beginning, when it first hit, a lot of leaders was called upon, but what I did was I went to some people who I knew what they was doing, right? So I went over to La Milpa, and I went over there. Marty Soul was over there, Andrea was over there, and they showed me how to set everything up. I hit my people up at Housing Authority and at the Asheville Dream Center. And so what we did was we set up a whole live Edenton distribution center that is still going at 133 Livingston Street. And so when people was giving me shout outs, I was like, I didn't just come up with this myself. Shout out to La Milpa. And so that's still going strong. And next, I want to just recognize, the power of community, because none of this could be done without many, many hands. And speaking of hands, you got Hands on Asheville, which was a integral component of how we was able to mobilize the volunteers. United Way has a nice setup to where people can sign up for shifts, what they wanted to do. And shout out to Diana Kuzmich, who has been amazing co-leader in this effort. She was able to keep up with the emails and checking in with the volunteers. And when you have volunteers, you don't just have them come by, but you want to spend some time with them, humanize them, because a lot of people are going through things, and some people heal through serving. And so those volunteers that was in, they were talking to people, loving on people. We was praying. It's just been so good. It has been healing for me myself. And next, I want to talk about how organizations came together to coordinate what was disorganized. So everybody and their mama was coming to Asheville to cook, coming to Western North Carolina. You had hot meals. I done had more hot meals since the hurricane than I had before the hurricane. And can I get an amen? We had World Center Kitchen. We had Equal Plates Project, Food Connection. I'm leaving one out. Hold on. What's the other one? Golly, I said, Center Chefs, something Mercy Chefs. Mercy. So we had all of these hot meals coming, and then you had these church folks coming, people just posting up and cooking out. But you had executive directors who had pivoted to do what was needed in the community. So shout out to Jess from Read to Succeed, her and Michaela from Impact Health. They pivoted to get those hot meals coordinated, and it was a beautiful thing, because these people was coming, they was ready to cook, and we got it coordinated. But like I say, it's a team effort, many organizations coming together, and we are stronger together. I want to highlight some funders, and some of y'all nonprofits were able to get some funds. Impact Health done some grants. The Western North Carolina Community Foundation, the Impact Health. We had Zedek came through with some funding, the WNC Bridge Foundation, and we was able to use those funds to get what like the pressing needs from, at one point in time, it was tents, it was propane stoves, it was the tarps. We had to have heaters, you know, those little buddy heaters. And shout out to my homie Jermaine Weaver in Weaverville, because you can't forget the people in the rural areas, y'all. And we was connecting with them. They was letting us know what we needed. We had multiple contacts with different distribution centers because it requires people to work together, you know, out there at Silverado and Appalachian Tool and Machining. They had a setup out there. We're communicating with each other like, hey, I just got a big load of stoves in. Do y'all need those? We got these propane tanks, and Erskine just got their power on. We don't need these generators. Y'all still need those. And this is what it takes, communication. You feel me? And lastly, I want to touch on how the community health workers were able to assist with getting people access. And when you hear people say equity, you got to go a little bit further now, because it has been politicized. You dig? When I hear the word equity, I think of impact and access. Impact and access. And so many people had their view on what FEMA was about, and myths and rumors. But let me tell you, once the community health workers got involved, we got these digital navigators who've been able to get the people to FEMA, people who wasn't even thinking they could get assistance, and now they're getting assistance. So when the community-based organizations comes alongside government, we improve people's their access and the impact. And so right now you have at the Eddington Center, you have FEMA staff is over there right now. Okay. You got digital navigators over there right now who can help you, because technology can be overwhelming. I mean, these people that have lost so much, they don't feel like going on and creating an account. And now you got to go retrieve your password, and you don't remember your password. And these community health workers also provide that emotional support when they sitting with a person. It's not just another number. So you got FEMA staff there. You got community health workers there. You know, shout out to, like I say, the funders, because those funders are what made it possible for us to be able to pay some people to do this digital navigator work. Tridestone has opened up for us to set up shop there. The Wesley Grant Center, waiting to hear back from Stevens Lee. We setting up shop so the people can come places where they feel safe and they can apply for the resources they need. And then we're going to have Pisca Legal on site Thursday and Friday with their justice bus. They're going to be there in addition to FEMA and the digital navigators. Pisca Legal will have their justice bus there at 133 Livingston Street. That's this Thursday and Friday. And so just glad to be here. Appalachia strong, baby. And I'm a Black man from the Appalachia, so it's Afro-Appalachia strong. Can I get an amen? Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you. And with that, that concludes our community presentations for the day. I do want to let folks know on this call, we normally have Clay here on Monday, Wednesday, Friday to talk about what's going on at the water reservoir, but he's actually going to be out at the reservoir tomorrow. So he will not be in part of our community briefing on Wednesday. However, he is here right now to answer any questions that members of the media may have, along with City Manager Deborah Campbell. And then Clay will be back on Thursday to give us some updates and some new photos of what's going on at the North Fork Reservoir. With that, we will turn it over to questions from members of our media who are on a Zoom call.
Yes, question about the illnesses that were mentioned. I'm wondering, sorry, this is Brittany Peterson with the Associated Press.
Thanks,
I'm wondering,
Brittany.
yeah, hi. I'm wondering how significant was the increase in those 2 stomach illnesses in Buncombe County in October? And have any deaths been linked to these same illnesses believed to have been exacerbated by the storm?
Here comes Dr. Mullendor.
Thank you for the question. So when we look at what our 5-year median of Campylobacter cases is, and we compare what we're seeing now, in October, well, I'll start with September. In September, we had 7 cases of Campylobacter. Our 5-year median average for September was 6, so that's tracking pretty normal. In October, we had 13 cases so far, because I'll say this data is as of Friday, the 24th of October. So there were 13 cases of Campylobacter identified at that point, and our 5-year median average for the month of October is 5. So that's the significant increase that we can see. Did that answer your question?
It did for the one illness, and then there was one other gastrointestinal illness that you mentioned, and then I'm curious about deaths linked.
Right. Oh, and no, we have not seen any deaths. I'm unaware of any deaths related to this increase. We have had several people hospitalized with the illness. And In terms of the other, it's a not a specific illness. It's a syndrome, general gastrointestinal illness that comes from emergency department and some urgent care data. And so there aren't necessarily numbers that I have for you. It's just a trend line on a graph. And so, like I said, we don't really, at this point, it's too early to tell if that increase, because it's a very zigzaggy line up and down. And so it's hard to know if that increase is truly going to keep increasing, or if this is actually just part of baseline and we're just on one of those upward swings that we typically see. So there's no specific number I can give you on that one.
Thank you. And just to clarify, the 5-year median average was 5 or 6 for October?
5 for October.
Okay, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Lillian. It's Laura at BPR. I think I heard that the best preventative methods for this are hand washing with clean water and or hand sanitizer. And I'm wondering, given that access to clean water is pretty limited, are there plans underway for the county to provide hand sanitizer?
So here's what I'll say. I wash my hands in the water that comes out of my tap, which is Asheville City water. All right. That is, at this point, we're under this boil water notice, mainly because of the turbidity and the testing that has been done, which I just looked at yesterday, I think was the last time I looked. We haven't seen any E. coli or total coliform, right? So when I'm at home and I need to wash my hands, I'm turning on my tap, I'm washing my hands just like I would normally do with soap for 20 seconds, lathering up and rinsing off. Now, because I'm a public health professional and I tend to be a bit more cautious, if I'm going to prepare food for my family, then I might follow that up with some hand sanitizer. But in general, you're fine to use the water that's coming out of your tap. It's all about your, people need to take their decision about what they feel comfortable with, right? And so that's why immunocompromised individuals, may want to follow it up with hand sanitizer. But, the message that the schools have been, giving to, because I asked my son who went back to school yesterday, is wash your hands after you go to the bathroom. So yes, ideally, right, in a perfect world, we would have water that was not under a boil water notice, right? And that's where we're working toward. But people should feel safe washing their hands with that water. Again, if your comfort level is such that you want to do a little bit more, that is perfectly fine. Did that help answer your question?
Sort of. Honestly, I'm a little more confused now. So is the official recommendation that we can wash our hands with the water that's coming out of the tap and soap?
Yeah, it's always
If you're
been.
not immunocompromised, then that should be fine.
Yeah, it's always been that
Okay.
recommendation.
And then I don't know if this question is more for you or for Lillian, but again, any plans underway to provide hand sanitizer for people who might need it?
We don't have any whole scale hand sanitizer distributions planned. I know I happened to go by Bounty and Soul the other day. I saw that they had a lot that had been donated. And so we don't, from a county operation, that's not anything that we are working on because we're following the medical director's recommendation.
We have another follow-up for Dr. Mullendorf from the chat.
You're so popular today.
Helen Chickering from BPR asked for a few more details about the kinds of folks that are developing this gastroenteritis. Do we have any details about age range or anything else that might be important to know? And are other counties experiencing this same phenomenon?
All right. Thank you, Helen. So I can say that all the individuals that I'm aware of were adults, but I think, it's been a wide age range among adult ages. I don't have the specifics off the top of my head. And then I only know Buncombe County. I will say that the state, they sent us this information late on Friday, and it was very Buncombe focused, but their plan is to look more broadly in this coming week. And so other counties, local counties, might have information to share again later this week. So I can only speak to Buncombe.
Hi, this is John Boyle with Asheville Watchdog. I've got a couple questions for Clay.
Here he comes.
Morning, John.
Good morning, Clay. First, just wanted to get a quick update on the curtain installation, how that is proceeding and going as planned.
I got a photo right before I walked in here that shows a boat in the water and shows curtains in the water. So yeah, it is happening right now.
And I had somebody ask me about the science of the curtains, and I know you're not necessarily a scientist, but can you speak to that just a little bit?
So essentially, at a very basic level, they'll create a confined treatment area that won't let water in or out. And so it'll allow that aluminum sulfate and caustic soda to like really do its job without any interference from outside water and without the water that it's treating from leaving. So essentially it traps that water. I think the curtains below the surface go down something like 20 feet. That may not be exact, but that's pretty close, I think. And so it really creates a confined treatment area that allows the coagulation elements to really do their jobs as efficiently as possible.
Okay, that's helpful. And I've also had a couple people ask about, with this going kind of slowly, the clearing up of the water. One guy mentioned in World War II, there was a pill that soldiers could use called Halzone that would purify the water at home. I've had several people ask about, are there in-home treatments people can do to this brownish water? Because people that camp, they have pills and filtration system. And I know y'all might not want to get into recommending anything, but what are y'all telling folks? Because I'm sure you've gotten those questions too about trying to purify the water coming out of your tap for drinking water.
We absolutely are not offering any kind of guidance about external filtration operations. And I'm very much a World War II history buff. It's one of my favorite things. But I have absolutely no expertise about the pill our people in uniform took back then.
Okay. And so no plans on the city's part of that would
No.
be extremely expensive anyway
Yeah,
to distribute anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Those were my questions.
Anything in the chat, Angelica?
We have a lot of questions today about debris, and one of the more interesting ones that I hadn't heard of already was some residents are asking if they can drop off their storm debris at any of our staging sites.
No. So the staging sites for debris, those are private. Those are for the contractors to pick up debris, drop it off to that location, and then from there, the debris will be taken to where it's processed. Ultimately, part of the whole goal of our debris location sites is to help divert materials from going to our landfill and putting them in appropriate spaces where they have the capacity to take those. Because we have so many big trucks, like the county manager just referenced, we've collected 40,000 cubic yards of debris already. There are so many dump trucks going in and out that it can only be used safely for that commercial activity and not for residential activity. So please continue to separate your debris. We will get there. It may not be fast, but we will get there. This is not like a trash collection. It just because it's the second Wednesday of the month doesn't mean that you've been missed if it hasn't been picked up.
And can you remind us what areas of town we expect debris collection to happen in this week?
So right now in the county, we're focusing on Barnardsville down to Black Mountain and into the Fairview areas, those areas that were highly impacted. Within the city, they are making their rounds. And I'm looking at the city manager in case she wants to provide an update or whisper to me if there's a space that they want folks to know that they're operating in, but they are starting that debris collection in those major right-of-ways and beginning their process of going through neighborhoods. So it is ongoing. It's not like trash. It's not a certain day that is your scheduled day. It is an ongoing process. Additional questions from the media on our Zoom call? Okay, I do want to let folks know, the impact from Hurricane Helene canceled more than 100 blood drives in our area. And so obviously blood is at a critical level here. And so on Thursday, October 31st, the county is going to host a blood drive with Red Cross on Halloween, like we usually do, from 10:30 a.m. until 3:30 p.m. at the Lord Auditorium, which is in the basement of Pack Memorial Library. You can register at redcross.org for an appointment. All donors are going to get a coveted Halloween t-shirt and gift bag at that event. So if you're looking for ways to help the community, please go to redcross.org and sign up for one of those slots. And hopefully we'll see you over at the Pack Memorial Library on Halloween. Also a reminder, we will not have a community briefing on Friday. That is because we have a special called Board of Commissioners meeting scheduled at 11 a.m. on Friday here. Like the county manager said, Corrine Duncan, our elections director, will be back on Thursday. We will be back tomorrow for our regularly scheduled community briefing with our partners from the city of Asheville, minus Clay, who will be out admiring his curtains.
Excuse me, Lillian.
Hey, Will.
Hey, sorry, I was trying to ask a question, but I had my mic on mute. Just to clarify something that said about the debris, to make sure I have it correct. So far in the county, 40,000 cubic yards of debris have been collected.
That's correct.
And that's separate from the totals from the city, right? Or is that's everything?
That is correct. That's the county's collection using SDR, former vendor, and the Army Corps of Engineers to do that debris collection in unincorporated Buncombe County.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Last chance. Okay. With that, we will see y'all back here tomorrow, Wednesday, for our regularly scheduled community briefing. Thank you.